And you know that Tuesday on March 7th, I've got a minute here. You know, Tuesday on March 7th, you get to vote on a Measure H. They want to add another 1/4 cent sales tax over the next 10 years to collect, over the next 10 years, $3.55 billion, because they said, you know what we're going to do? We're going to prevent and control homelessness. Now, you know what, I had a little bit to say about this, but let's just go back here, just to concerns. The whole idea is that, yes, homelessness is a real problem. Yes, we need to come up with a real solution. But what I'm concerned about Measure H, because it doesn't disclose a clear solution. It doesn't say what they're going to spend the money on or where they're going to spend the money. As a matter of fact, they talk about that this was an add-on to Measure HHH that the city of Los Angeles passed to create $1.2 billion to build 3,000 homes to house the homeless. And then what happens, the county says, well, you know, yeah, they can build it, but we provide the social services. So you got to give us money too. And that's what they did. Now, I don't understand why, when they did Measure HHH, they didn't include that in their bond and their initiative. Seems like maybe there was a little collusion between the two groups. The other thing is, I believe, whenever you create a bureaucracy the size of $3.5 billion over 10 years, it'll never go away. They're not going to solve this problem. They're going to create a bureaucracy to come back in 10 years and say, oh, you know what, we've worked on this for 10 years, but we need 10 more, and by the way, we need more money. And really, who does it hurt? Whenever we keep adding sales tax, or whenever we develop another assessment district on top of what we've got, who does it hurt? It hurts the people that are on a fixed income, that are retired, that may be, and as I've dealt with some of the individuals in the manufactured home parks, are about that far from being homeless themselves because they can't afford to stay there. So every time you do this, if you would have saw the rest of the presentation, you'll have seen that 10% sales tax in Los Angeles County means every man, woman, and child will pay $1,440 a year in sales tax. That's by their numbers, by calculating the population of Los Angeles County against the $355 million that they would get for 1/4%. So if you had 10%, you can multiply it out and then divide it by the population, $1,440, which means that if you have a family of 4, what are you paying? $6,000 worth of sales tax. So don't tell me every time you increase that, it's just a little bit, it's not going to hurt anybody. Yeah, it's going to hurt people. It's going to hurt people who can't afford it. Sounds like LA City is going in and developing housing projects. We've seen those all over the East Coast, New York, Chicago, Detroit. And what happens is if you end up building a bunch of houses and put people that have no income in them, guess what happens to them, right? I mean, really, I can understand saying, I want to help you. You turn around and you say, you're a person that's homeless because you really don't want to be homeless and you have the job skill. You just don't have the job skills to get a job. I say, help train you to get the job. I'll house you while you're going to school, and as long as you're doing this, I'll give you some time to go out and get a job and go. But if you just say, I'm going to take everybody and house them, and you have a large group of people that aren't going to do anything except sit there, then you know what's going to happen to that property. It's going to go downhill. It's going to be a slum before too long. And by the way, if the homeless program is too grand and the giveaway is too large, what happens is it won't cure homeless. It'll attract homelessness. Yes.
As I understand it, H is about services, which means mental health services, support services for the homeless, so that including training and things like that, so that they won't, they'll be able to find a path.
You missed one word.
Huh?
You missed one word. It said it may be for health services, or it may be. They didn't tell you what they were going to spend it on.
But isn't there
You know what? I wouldn't mind paying a little bit more personally to help people also if I thought the money was going to something that was going to help them. But when you tell me you've got this grand plan, you want $355 million a year, you have 21 things that you may do, but you don't tell me what you will do, what is that oversight committee going to oversee?
Well, but I thought it actually did spell out what they were going
No, it doesn't.
to do for those services.
It does not have to be used for, it might be a big bureaucracy that's going to manage those services. You don't know what it's going to be for.
In a special fund, it does.
No,
In
it,
general fund, it doesn't.
look, anything that sort of resembles what it may be, it can be. You think what it's going to be. But you have to, if they turned around and it said, by golly, I'm going to take $355 million, 10% of it is going to go to mental health services. 10% of it is going to go to job skills. 20% of it is going to go here. It's going to be spent equally through LA County, or it's going to be spent proportionally to the number of homeless that are in there. I'd say, okay, now I can oversee something. Now I understand it. But if all it says is, I may do these 21 things, and it doesn't tell you what the mix of the 21 things are, or how it's going to be administered, I'm opposed to it, but I'm sure it's going to pass. It's going to pass just like Measure M passed here in Santa Clarita, where virtually none of the money is coming to Santa Clarita. I don't know. I had a conversation with a gentleman. I won't mention his name. I had a conversation with a gentleman the other day. I got to end this pretty quickly, and he's a great advocate for seniors. Okay, and he's a great advocate for this. And I said, well, wait a minute. We were just in a meeting where you were talking about that some seniors can't afford $1 a class to go to these classes. Why do you want to put another burden on seniors? So, well, it's just a little bit. And look what it might do. Well, yeah, it might do it. Might not. Okay? I don't know. I agree that if you have services that are needed and you know who they are, or you determine what the group is, and you determine how and where you're going to spend the money, yeah, you can convince me that that's a good thing to do.
We can agree if they're building homes.
I can agree that it costs a lot. I'm going to end this right now because I can agree that if you tell me something that makes sense, I'll back it. I tell this to people that I don't normally agree with. The biggest environmentalist comes in here today and lays out a plan that makes absolute sense. I'll back it because it makes sense. You come in here and lay out a plan of how you're going to help the homeless, and it makes sense, and I'll back it. You come in here and tell me how we're going to fix the manufactured home ordinance problem, and it makes sense, and I'll back it. But if you just come in here and say to me, give me a whole bunch of money and I'll fix it, you ain't getting my support.
No, and what I'm saying is we haven't read the bill, so we don't know the
Okay. Yeah, Anna.
The county supervisor, the new county supervisor, has written something about this homeless law. And she said that nothing has been decided yet. That was maybe 1 week ago. Nothing has been decided yet to allocate, those 10% you were speaking of, or 20% you were speaking of. So they don't know what to do with those taxes yet. And I don't think there is a bill. If there was a bill, I would have read it. And I would like to know, like you do, I would like to know where this money is going to go. And they don't know yet.
I agree.
And we are going to vote when?
Well, I agree that they don't know.
We are going to vote the 7th of March, and
Well,
they don't know yet.
But isn't that what's called planning? Don't you go ahead and you plan what you're going to do first? And I mean, it would just be like, I'll give you an example. I come up to you and I'll say, I'm going to build a house for you. Give me $500,000. You're going to accept that? You're going to let me go away and spend the $500,000 and build anything I want? You wouldn't do that. It's your money, right? You would turn around, you would want to know how big's the house, where it's going to be, what's going to be in it. You're going to look and see if you get value for that $500,000. Well, this is the same thing. Go give me, except the numbers are bigger. Go give me $355 million a year, and I will solve something. Well, I know what it's going to solve. It's going to solve someone's pocketbook is what it's going to solve. And that's the way the government works.